Can hear my sound, yeah? All right, cool. So, hi everyone. Yeah, thanks Eunice as well for the introduction. Really smooth. I can start my screen, yeah? All right, share my screen. So everyone can see my screen.
Yes, sounds good. Seems good.
Okay, cool. I see how many participants? Oh, 59. Okay, welcome. This small workshop session as well about yeah. Yeah, let's make it casual. Don't too stress about today. So at least we hope it can be inspire a lot. Guys can interact with the Google Cloud platform and then play with Gemini API as well. Someone says Gemini. I'm from Indonesia anyway, so sometimes we call it Gemini. So yeah, that's without further ado. So disclaimer as well from my end. Technically, this one is purely my independent work and research as well. And then, okay, where am I? Yeah, just Eunice mentioned as well. You can scan QR code. I give you 5 seconds to scan if you don't mind as well to see the profile in the Google developer group. So, and technically, if you have scan, if not able to scan, you can access my profile here as well. Okay, so my background is very more or less related IT. I don't want to read technically, really boring, right? So no worry, I'm not your lecturer here. So I just try to encourage everyone to, how to say, keep learning because technology is moving at not only fast, I think it's pretty crazy speed, I think, right now, especially when the AI is being introduced to lately as well after COVID pandemic, right? So I think most of us as well from the from the industrial background as well start to expand our knowledge to the AI. So especially if you guys are a student right now, so don't worry, you have a, how to say, a lot of knowledge around you guys right now. So it's more to the willingness to learn, right? Okay, so here is my background. Just a small human, simple human being as well as a IT industry in IT industry, more or less specialized in cloud computing, and then also have joined some event as well last year, especially in the Google Developer Group, right? So yeah, all right. So without further ado, this is the today topic. So are going to play around with Gemini API from the Cloud Function or Cloud Run as well. So there are three QR code here. Actually, this represent the hyperlink here. So technically, if you scan, I give you a 5 second to scan as well. So to learn about what is the Cloud Run. So meanwhile, I will explain a bit about the Cloud Run as well. So technically, when you are building the software, right, especially the website technology, technically you are dealing with the API, right? Now the question is whether the API itself need to be hosted where, what is the domain, how to access that, and then should I host it somewhere, and then someone can access it in the other part of the world. So all those questions, right? So technically now is being simplified into the serverless. So right at my era, maybe it's 15 years back when I a student like you guys. So technically at the time we want to create the API, either we want to host it in a virtual machine or in a computer somewhere or on my own computer, and I just expose it to the world using dedicated IP address, right? In 2025, actually you are the how to I would say that one is very amazing year to learn something is related to the web development because it's already too mature, and then as well we have AI here. So whenever you want to host something, you have a cloud provider providing to you. You don't have to really think about the infrastructure side most of the time, but of course you still need to do that. Depends on your use case. So that is why I share this slide. So as you can see here, there is talking about the Google Cloud platform, right? So there are 5 main infrastructure that you can utilize in order to host your software, right? So you need to choose. whether you need to choose using compute engine or Kubernetes, which is most of the enterprise did anyway. So for example, let's say your enterprise has dealing with 1 million user, 5 million user, you need to do hyper scaling. So you need to deal with this compute engine and Kubernetes engine. So everywhere you go, I think in this era, either you guys or Azure, also you will heard about the word Kubernetes, Google product, right? And then slowly, if you transition right hand side, right, so you can see Cloud Run, App Engine, and Cloud Function. So today, actually, we are talking about Cloud Run. So we are between, so meaning it's the middle way, right? So not really right and not really left. Of course, it all depends on your use case, but because of today, we are going to inspire you how you can with the software and read at the pace that you can imagine as well. Maybe I can explain you how to be deployed in the Cloud Run. Okay, so normal. I don't want to read. You can screenshot or you can take a photo as well, right? No, let's continue with this. Okay, this is Gemini. You want talking about this? Yeah, technically in my previous workshop in another university as well, I always ask the student, do you know about Gemini? Or someone say it's star, uh, kind of the name of the star, what we call it, the Rasi, right? The race. Yeah. So it's part of the Google DeepMind project. So technically, the Gemini is our Lofi AI. So the back to the basic question, what is AI? So I just continue with this before I go back and see. I don't want to read, it's really boring, right? So just read your file. Anyway, someone in another university will take a photo, throw to the AI, summarize everything. I don't want to read. Right? So in the event of the AI, right, you still to read something is like you need to what I can advise you guys is pick the key keyword, right? Pick the main keyword. So behave AI because AI is your competition in the future. So check the keyword, which one is more important, record it in your memory. So in this case, we're going to show you the, okay, so AI, the concept is technically, we call it artificial, right? So anyway, we try to make something like human. So technically, like the way the human behave, they have a cognitive reasoning and the problem solving. Anyway, AI is not limited to this general concept, but there is a specific concept as well, machine learning and deep learning. So that is why, if you can see in the recent years, the advancement of AI going a deeper layer. So that's why we have LLM now, we have a transformer architecture, and we have all those how to say, the neural network, more at neural network algorithm as well being introduced. So it's pretty fast-paced era right now. Yeah, back to Gemini. So there are type of AI as well. So we call it the type of model. We call it because this Gemini actually drop under a large language model. So eventually, it depends on your use case anyway, right? You want to use this AI for what purpose? So, long story short, I can always explain, like if you want to plant mango, you have two options, right? Either you use bare hand or you want to ask someone hiring some big excavator, dig the soil for you and then put the mango seed. Up to you. So you need to justify the use case, right? Whether I have to use the most advanced model. Actually, I just want to use for chatbot, not necessary. Or you want to use a generative image model, really advanced to generate the image and video for you. So back to the use case, is provided by use case basis, right? Okay, so anyone know this? Yeah, maybe I can see your response as well in the online, right? The workshop online like this, but at least you know this one is avatar, right? So eventually this one is the element controller, right? Always Nickelodeon say that can we mix the element of the serverless cloud computing with the AI, the Gemini? So don't worry, don't think too complicated about how AI is being abstract in this uh, era, because in my era, to be honest, right, AI is so intimidating. Meaning, if you want to learn about AI, you need to learn specific type of the neural network. Then you need to really learn deep of computer science. At this, particular period, right? You can deal with the model, you can tweak, and you can tune it. So it's like you have higher level understanding about AI. So it's, but of course, back to the use case, right? So is pretty much really good era to learn something new. Okay, so here is the Gemini fast. As you can see, Google also really keen for developer. They really love to give free stuff, which is everyone love, right? For the free, no one argue B stuff. But of course, here actually is allow us to access the advancement of the audience without concerning about money. So why I say that, because you can do some sort of experience, and then without worrying whether it be your bank account. So yeah, you still can control it anyway. So it's like a cloud computing, really flexible in this part of pricing. So yeah. So as you can see here, there are two type, free tier, but don't worry, I'm Google sales also consultant here. I just want to show you that, okay, if you want to learn something like AI, at least you know the price, you know where is the limit, right? So here is the pricing strategy here. So if more than 1 million token, now definitely someone among you will ask what is token, what is the modality. Yeah, let us slowly we will going through that. Okay, prerequisite. Okay, so I think Minhan or Eunice already brief. Maybe before this meeting, you guys maybe have access to Google AI Studio or at least a Google Cloud Platform, right? Before we going further about this workshop. So more or less technically, the AI Studio technically is the platform that provide you a lot of customization, especially if you want to play around with the model that they provide. So that's why we call it garden model in Google. And then you also have ones to integrate with the model itself hosted in Google Cloud Platform using the API key. So the keyword here is API key, right? Then this API key will represent the usage plus the billing that you have to monitor over the time when you try to interact with this AI. But of course, if you use free tier, you don't have to worry, right? So yeah. And then there is another integration as well you can use in order to interact with the AI using open authentication. But of course, maybe because this workshop is only 1 hour plus, right? So we won't go through with this mechanic, the another advanced mechanic to connect, but we can use Google API key in order to integrate directly, right? So, okay. So as usual, this is the Google Cloud Console. Yeah, I don't want to go through super detail in here. Okay, here is another interesting part. If you join my Google DevFest last year as well, so I always share this document. You can scan. I give you 5 or 10 seconds to scan. So there is a QR code there. So there is a PDF officially made by Google. So especially if you want to learn about the prompt engineer. So when you want to deal with AI, you need to have an effective prompt. Seems like if you want to do a Google search, right? If you want to find something, you need to set a context. So there is a terminology in the prompt engineering. So here, actually, the PDF, if you scan the QR code, then as you can see, you can learn how to make a proper prompt as well when you deal with the AI. Even though this one maybe not as mandatory as you want to mention everything, but it will help you to at least get the accurate result as possible. Okay, so this is the PDF. All right, so let's continue to the, okay. Yeah, I know today is a workshop, right? So don't worry, I won't take your time so long for this presentation. We are going to do coding, right? So without coding, it's like, wow, it's minute code definitely, right? To do something. That's why they call it KitaHack, right? Hack something. All right. So here is a sample. I will show you later on how to do deployment from the start as well. We play around with the code. Okay. So today we are talking about this integration. I will show you later on the code. Okay. So we go after this actually demo. So don't worry. We just start the workshop immediately, right? So technically, you can scan my GitHub repository as well here. So this one, I provide the sample code. If you are not able to follow, for example, for certain pace, then you are already missing. you always can refer to this GitHub. So technically, I post the code for today's workshop in this repository. You can clone it anyway. You can use it anyway. Don't worry. And then the right-hand side technically is my Medium, just my simple blog. Yeah, so technically, if you're interested to read my published article in Medium related to any technology like OCR or the large language model, you're also fine. Okay, I give you time to scan as well. All right, so I hope everyone already scanned the QR code, right? So yeah, let's continue. Okay, time to demo. Nice. So Eunice and Minhan, technically I know your time is scheduled is 10:50, right? So I think we can start earlier for the workshop, so you can easily. All right, so you guys still can see my screen, right?
Yes, yes, all good.
Hello?
Yes, we can see your screen. It's good.
My sound gone. Let me change the. All right, can you hear my sound?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. So shall we start for the workshop?
Yep, yep. Sounds good.
All right. Okay, great. So okay, so before we do the workshop, right? So as uh, you have done the scanning the QR code technique, I have shared the slide as well to Minhan because I know this meeting is so don't worry. So technically, later you can refer to. So this is the GitHub. So I just show you first. So there is a step by step here, but of course you can always follow me also, right? So if you have missing out, don't worry. You always can refer to this step. I define everything in this GitHub. Okay. So let's play. So let's play the music, right? Someone say. Now, you guys need to go to the Google AI Studio, get your API key first. So for those that haven't know or what is the Google AI Studio, just I mentioned earlier. So AI Studio is platform provided by Google. So technically here you can always uh, even play around or fine tune the prompt as well before you integrate. You can play around and then you also explore the sample, the one that you can how to say inspired. So most of the thing here technically guide you to play around with the API itself. So if you click the API documentation here, technically it will redirect you to the documentation, the Gemini API, okay, Gemini. So there is a three language, Python, Node.js, and REST API. So okay, so this is the Google AI for developer, right? So here is Node.js, here is REST API. So all is a sampling here. Okay. So before you create the API key, okay, so this is the endpoint. You need to create the project in the Google. So Google Cloud Platform, technically, if you have logged into this Google Cloud Console, I believe most of you may be already being informed before. So at least if you want to play around with the serverless, you need to at least have access to Google Cloud. You can register using your own credit card or you can use using a free tier, right? Here you can always create the new projects. In my case, I have create my project KitaHack, right? So if you can follow me, you can create new project and then name the project itself up to you. You can put the KitaHack or something like that, or KitaHack how to say 2025 right? Then just click create. That's it. So it will appear after you click create. Then you can see here. Definitely it will just start down here, right? So for my case, actually, I already create before, so I don't have to create again one more time. But yeah, just for your knowledge. So let's say if I uh, create KitaHack my 25, right? So here, new project just now, KitaHack 2025 version 2, for example. This is my own, right? So your own, you can name it yourself, so don't worry. You have a notification bar loading here, then it will create the project for you. Okay, so just choose that project. So why this step is very important, so at least you know your API key under which. So check, then you can choose this one. KitaHack. So by right, it should be listed here. Then you can see the things KitaHack 2025 V2. Right? So if you click this, okay, now you're already in the active project of your Google Cloud platform, right? Simple. Then after this done, so you can go back to your Google AI Studio. Okay, then you click the Get API key. You can create the API key, and then you can choose the project just now you create. In my case, this is the one that I just create just now, right? Okay. So let me know if, let's say, I move too fast. Yeah. So let's say you have done this step. So technically choose the project that you have created just now. Then create the API key for the existing project. Okay. So if you click this guy, then it will generate the API for you. Okay. So this API key technically is the key. Yeah, you can treat this any key to open the door, right? So you just need to save it somewhere. So maybe I will save it in my note. So if I open my note, okay, so this is my notepad. So I can list out like here, API key or Gemini. The name is up to you lah. As long you know this one is for the Gemini integration purpose, right? So here we go. Okay. So once you get the API key under that project, then everything become easy. Okay. So now, where is the serverless? Where is the API? Okay, let's continue one by one, right? So before we go to that particular topic, so you need to see here, technically there are two options in the right-hand corner. Okay, set up billing and view usage data. If you click this hyperlink, for example, view usage data. So this metrics give you, at least you know this API or this API key is being called how many times. So at least you know this one is hitting the limit. You can set the threshold later on, but for the free tier, you don't have to worry about this, okay? So as you can see here, if you go to the quota and system limit, okay, so here, as you can see here, there are a lot of dimension here. Okay, so technically here, you always can filter by name. For example, let me search generative content request per day enable, for example. So here technically it's related to the model Gemini 2.0, right? So okay, maybe it's not really how to say. Let's go to the Gemini model. So depends on the which model that you are using. So here is a 1.5. We are going to use a Gemini 2.0 today. Okay, so it's not showing here. But yeah, at least so here technically if I open, okay, so this is generative AI, right? So if I click back to metrics, let's go to metrics. So here there is a credential generative language API key. So later once we test it, it should appear here how many times it's being hit, and then cost as well here. Let's go to cost. Yeah, it will be appear here once after 24 hours. Okay. But yeah, you can monitor your system limit here, but of course the naming may be not really familiar as well. So yeah, I mean for let's say if you guys start a new thing, but of course it's good to know that you can always see the quota here later on. Okay, cool. So technically, let's go back to the our main topic. Now you click the console again. By right, you should see your welcome screen like this with the working in the KitaHack. So right now I am V2, right? Very simple. Then you see the right hand corner, there is a cloud shell. So we are going to play with the cloud shell. Okay, you need to click this cloud shell. So right now, I believe you guys already have the API key. I believe you guys already have a Google Cloud project. So you have to click the Cloud Shell. Okay. So you need to click Authorize. If you guys have some confusion or anything, you can always type in the chat, right? So don't worry, we will try to guide you. Okay. So what is a cloud shell? So as you can see here, okay, maybe the view may be a bit different with yours. Your like this, right? So you see the okay. So for those that already familiar with the Google, definitely okay. This one is the I always call it like a mini virtual machine to allow you to interact with the Google Cloud platform, right? So they provide you free, but there is a limit as well, like quota in computation. But anyway, so you can imagine kind of the how to say. I always love this one is Linux environment as well. So in order to if you want to become a data science or you want to become software engineer, bear in mind that Linux is really your friend. So be familiar with Linux. If you you want to learn new Linux operating system, learn it. So because it will be really helpful in the long run, right? Okay. So by right, you have already the view of the cloud share, right? So someone was still asking as well, where is the API? Where is the, oh yeah, no worry. We are going to the API, right? So as you know, I have GitHub share to you, right? The link, the Minhan also put in the chat. Thanks for Minhan. There is a main branch. Okay. Definitely, I won't ask you whether you are familiar with GitHub or how to clone with GitHub. No worry. You always have time. The recording is here, so you can always even search around how to clone the GitHub, everything. But of course, you can follow me for now. It's fine. So back to the cloud here. Now you are in the cloud shell, right? So let's create a directory. So oh, no need to create directory. I can simply just clone this GitHub. Okay, so maybe it will work because our time is so limited. So you just copy the GitHub. Okay, the link just now already shared as well. In the cloud shell, as you can see, you can always check this project session, right? To the v2 is referred to the, we call it active project. Okay, so I can always run the git clone here. So what happened when you do this? So I will type in the chat git clone. So just clone the GitHub repository that I give. Okay, so once you clone this project, right, technically you already download the things from git. Okay, so what's happening here? So technically Google Cloud Platform gives you a CLI to directly connect to the GitHub as well. So you can always clone any project that exists in GitHub and play it around in your cloud share. Okay, so because I believe you guys are also have a how to say, just enter the word of IT or maybe already advanced in IT, I don't know. But at least using this way, this is the terminal. So I will show you as an editor. So you can click the option here, open editor. Okay. If you click the open editor, it will show you the interface like the Visual Studio Code. Right. So here, let's go. So maybe I want to close this one first and then I reopen to you. So by default, my Cloud Shell actually going to using an editor. So you can click the option open in editor. So the editor of Cloud Shell is actually looks like a Visual Studio Code, which is our lovely platform to do some coding, right? So it gives you a, how to say, the online IDE. You don't have to install anything anyway, right? So you just need a internet, a fast internet, so you can play around with this. Okay, so I have to go with the new folder, which is this one. Okay, so here. So as you can see, you just ignore the both one because I use it in another project, KitaHack without version 2, but this one is version 2. But Cloud Shell actually is kind of a virtual machine that share across the project, so you can use back. All right, if let's say you already clone, so as you can see here, the step-by-step is very simple here. Create new project, just now already explained. Generate API key, I already explained. Activate Google Cloud Shell, yes, just now. And then retrieve your project ID. Okay, so this also you need to take note. Okay, so project ID. So if you open the GitHub, in the README section, there is a step number 4. You need to take care about your project ID. So I put it somewhere here. Project ID, how to get? So you click this above, then you can see the ID here, right? This is the ID that you're interested in. Then you can copy here, right? Click copy. But at least you also know the things is already being assigned by default, so you don't have to worry. At least you take note on this, so you know where you are. Okay, especially if you're dealing with multiple projects. But if you today is your first time dealing with the Google Cloud Platform, don't worry. Okay, so you still have time to revisit. All right, so if I follow the README guideline, number 1 done, 2 done, 3 done. Okay, number 4, just now I take note, done. Okay, so set the active project in Cloud Shell. Okay, this one not necessary because we already automatically, but of course it's what to set as well, just to execute one more time. So actually you can copy the line of number 5, and then you open this one. Okay, so as you can see here, the terminology and the step-by-step here is git cloud config set project ID, right? The project ID, we already captured it first in the previous step, so just execute this line of code. Now, if you want to execute the line of code, right, because this one is CLI, so later on you learn about what is CLI, what is that one. I think you can learn it separately, but of course in this workshop. Okay, so if you see the same thing like me, congratulations. Good, so at least you are on the same like me right now. But if not, no worry, so at least I always can revisit later on, show to you. Okay, so here technically, okay, so if you cannot see this, you can always go to terminal, new terminal. So you imagine now you have an online IDE, you have an online terminal. So sometimes I also feel like, do I still need to have a PC to do a code? But right now everything is already online, right? So you just need internet, fast internet. Okay, even they have provided Gemini Copilot, something like another product, Copilot, right? So this actually is also really useful. So AI everywhere, right? So if I open and then I run this command, okay, nothing fancy because we're already in this project. But it will be really useful if, let's say, you already or you're dealing with the multiple project, which is in this case you are not, right? So yeah, don't worry. Then so I always suggest for my participant as well, you open the GitHub, see the README section. These all the steps that I normally provide. Okay, so you always can revisit. Now we have to enable the runtime. So the execution runtime that Google allow us to execute the serverless. So you need to run this step number 6. Okay, so I just copy number 6. Simple, right? Just copy paste. But of course, at least later on, once you back from this workshop, try to understand what is this line purpose. So this I just explained to you. This one, try to enable the API to allow the service being execute. Okay, meaning we have the cloud run. So the cloud run will try to execute this part of the function as well. So if you follow Google from the first time they have a cloud computing, there is a evolution from the generation 1, generation 2. They have a function, they have a cloud run, they have a container, they have registry. So everything is like keep changing, right? Keep updating to the latest version. So if I execute this, what we are doing right now is actually telling that, okay, I want to enable this API to let me execute my project, right? So my project in this case is serverless project. So I want this being allowed. Then only we can execute our serverless. Okay. Now you already done the enabling the cloud function runtime. Now if I go back to the README, now we are step number 6. Okay. So far so good. Yeah, I hope. I hope. Yeah. So okay. Now we go to step number 7. That's the API via Postman. So what API? So technically, as you can see here, we need to go back to AI Studio, put it aside just now what we did in Cloud Shell. So here, technically, they provide you the REST API, right? So there is a Gemini API key here. There is a, okay. So you see here the API, the AI is abstract to become an API, right? So we just need to call the API. So if I open my command here, so this is my URL. I using Postman. By the way, I'm not sure whether you have Postman in your PC. So normally I will test the API first, whether my API key is work. So I import the CURL just now. Then the API key now is populated automatically, right, in my Postman. So in the IT world, we have so many terminology, right? From the REST API, from the CURL, from the bash script, all those things actually adding up along the way once you are try to dig into the IT world, right? So all those things will be super familiar for you. But for those that start today, just see this thing, it's okay. You still have time to learn as well, right? So I import the API from the Gemini. Then I have to replace the Gemini API key, which is I already put in my node, just this one. Okay, so I just replace it simple. Then the body is here actually is very, this one is just a prompt, right? So just you just type this one. Let's say I hitting the API. It should return some response. So this is the, as you can see, the domain, right? The UI, the URL is
Uh,
generic language Google API,
so
right?
sorry,
Okay.
Nando.
Yep.
I think you did not share the other screen.
Okay. Let me share back. Is it not showing here?
It is still showing at the Google AI Studio.
Oh, okay. Let me try to share again. Thanks for inform me. Let's go to this one. Share screen window, entire screen. Okay. Then I should share the entire screen then. Okay, now can see.
Yep, yep, all good.
All good, right? Okay. So if you are using Postman, yeah, maybe I should restart my step as well. So the Postman technically here, if I go back to the AI Studio, so you here you can copy to clipboard this REST endpoint, right? Just copy this guy. And then you go to the Postman. You can click import, paste your CURL just now. So that format is considered CURL format. Okay. You always can do it manually. That like this is the request path, and then you can populate the body, right? But if you import, then automatically will be here. Then you need to copy back your Gemini API key just now we get from the API Studio. Just replace it with your, then done. So that's it. So this is the endpoint of Gemini. I mean, that's it for integration. I mean, for the Gemini API, how it works. Of course, there is a multiple information and parameter later on in the serverless. So we need to call this guy in order to analyze our thing, right? So here we go. So here is the AI model. We define it as two flash, right? So they give you all this information. So you just now we are passing text only, right? So you know the response here, blah, 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 blah. Then everything is here. Meaning your API key is working. That's it, right? Ensure your API key is working, then good enough. Now, if let's say your API key already working, you have this payload, you have this request, then you can incorporate this to our project. So just now the GitHub, if you map, then if I go back to number 7 done. Now we try to deploy. Okay, so how to deploy? Okay, so I think there's we can skip number 8, number 9 we skip, number 10. Okay, I just now open the editor, right? Okay, number 11. So here, if I see here number 11, so I should refresh this as well. Let me see. This is the 1 hour ago, right? So let me refresh. Is it 1 hour ago, the latest one? Okay, 48 minutes ago. So now is readme is updated. Okay, so technically, if you're still following, right? So technically, number 6 done. 7 just now. Number 8, we can skip because we already done. 9, you don't have to create directory anymore. Once you run the git clone, technically, it's automatically create the directory for you. So if I open this one, okay, because I have run the git clone outside, right, in the terminal level. If I run the git clone, technically, if I run dir, so technically it will generate the folder for you, right? Project Gemini JDSUM. So you always can cd project. So technically you are inside the project right now, right? But of course, using this way, technically, because I want to show you another technique in the Google Cloud, so that I provide you the editor, it will help you easily as well to navigate this. Okay, so if you open as editor, they give you a visual user interface like Visual Code, Visual Studio Code, right? I assume you already have this. You can sit and click the index.js file. Okay, just read around. No need to understand for now. Let's I explain one by one. Okay, so here, if I go back to the README, number 10 done just now. Okay, now we are going to number 11. Number 11, technically, we already done. But for this one, just ignore the first step because we are not going to use the manual way. Now, because the time is so limited, I give you directly clone my GitHub, then we learn together, okay? So once you learn, yeah, once you copy this repository, then you need to run the npm install. Okay, so npm install. So you just follow the step, the second step, right? Belong to the number 11. So you need to go to directory. So meaning you need to go to the CD project. CD is the change directory. So once you are inside the directory, like because this one is the Node.js API, so you need to run the npm install because definitely we are not checking the Node module and all those stuff. So if you run npm install, it will install the necessary packets related to this JavaScript API. Now, as you can see here, we have so many terms already, right? Let me know if I'm going too fast. So we have Node.js. So this one is just now you execute gcloud as a CLI. And right now we execute another command line called npm. Okay, npm is a node package manager because we are dealing with a sample API that I provide in the GitHub. Actually, the API itself is a JavaScript Node.js API. Okay. All right. So now you have the API ready. Okay. So the code is here. I will explain you before we deploy this. So you're already in the step number 11. Okay. All right, my bad. So this one supposedly it's later I update my README. So this one is skipped to number 13, right? So don't be confused. So where is number 12? Okay, no worry. So this one is my part is missing. Okay, now you see 13. We can skip number 13 technically, so not necessary. But of course, you always can do that later on after this workshop. So for now we just skip number 13. Replace API key in the index.js. You don't have to do that because we are using environment variable. Number 14, okay, this is the place to deploy the serverless function, okay? So before we deploy this guy, so you imagine because I have to explain to you first what you need to deploy, right? What is the code about, okay? So because slowly one by one, if you clone my repository, technically it's provide you with the two functionality in here, right? So maybe someone say in their mind that I never learned about JavaScript, and this guy suddenly explain about JavaScript. Okay, it's okay. You have AI, right? After this, you can always can learn. But because we know the time is limited, so I bet rather go with this way. So meaning you have a reference, then you have learned something from the reference. So what I can say to you that index.js technically is the entry point to our API. Okay, so our API itself actually is you see the API itself, we have the endpoint in this particular section. So you can go to the number 104. I provide the endpoint called analyze sentiment. So my API later on, what I will do is I will try to construct the request function and then try to analyze the sentiment based on the type. If someone pass in text, then we will analyze the sentiment, and then what we are doing here is actually we try to call this function analyze sentiment. So the analyze sentiment, what I will do here is actually I will try to call the endpoint just now, right? The Gemini endpoint. You see here the full URL. So if I can zoom this, very simple, right? So here technically is the Axios. Axios is JavaScript library, help you to do a REST API request. So from this API, technically we are going to interact with the Gemini. So the Gemini itself will return us this, okay? Then it will return us this particular part. Then I do this some simple if to just to check what is the sentiment. But of course, this technically is we are passing the data. So technically, if I using the Postman just now, you see the Postman, right? So here we have explained how AI work. Oh, they give you everything. Now, my problem statement is simple. I want to analyze the sentiment. So my API looks like this. So you see, as you can see here, let's say I passing this value. I absolutely love the new phone. This is the worst experience. The weather today, blah, 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 right? So we want to know the response from the AI itself. Of course, we can tell them, okay, analyze this for us, or we can analyze it ourselves. So it's up to you. You can always connect this result to the Vertex endpoint if you have to analyze more after we discuss with the AI, our own data set, right? So here is the one, the endpoint that I going to deploy. One is for analyze the text. Let's say the client want to analyze what is the sentiment for this. And this is the temperature. And then second endpoint, second functionality actually is the multimodal. Technically, we want to analyze the image. So this is the interesting part. So we want to analyze this image. What is the image inside? So I will going through this API with you. Okay, so here the analysis of the image. So technically, this one technically underneath is the Gemini 1056. So I have 4 minutes to explain to you the technical integration here. So I have to draw IO. So at least you are not really blur enough, right? So here we go. If I go to draw IO, then we can see the, yeah, okay. Meanwhile, it's waiting. Technically, what we are going to do here technically is, okay, now it's loading. That's simple. So this is your PC is here. Now we have a region. Always someone say we need to know the war zone before we go to war, right? So it's not like directly go to war, or we need to know how deep the swimming pool before we swim, right? So here is the constraint. So this is the GCP. Here is your Cloud Shell. So you just treat Cloud Shell as another PC provided to you to jump over all the Google Cloud functionality. Right? So your PC tried to connect to this guy. So meaning like my case, I using Postman to integrate with my endpoint. So here is the endpoint. Okay, so your PC also actually access the Cloud Shell from, maybe I can show this region as well. Maybe this region is overlapping for some reason. But never mind. Okay. All right, so here. So this endpoint technically is the, so I put here, serverless functionality. So serverless technically connect to Gemini. So this one we call it public endpoint. This one is using Google Cloud Console. So this one is using Google Cloud Provider. So I always draw this kind of diagram, so at least you know the where are you, right? So as you can see here, technically is we are right now in the cloud shell, right? The cloud shell technically is allow you to interact and integrate. Then this PC later on access the endpoint. So in order to do this, technically you are now inside the shell with me right now together, right? So in the cloud shell, they provide all the necessary API to interact with any GCP product. So here actually you can use serverless. You can execute Vertex endpoint. You can also spawn the big data like Google, what we call it, data warehouse. Okay, like I can spawn the instance in a big query as well here. So the cloud shell technically provide you all the tools that you need. So technically that's why we call it a CLI, like a cloud just now. Cloud is Google Cloud CLI. You can also install in your Windows machine or your Mac OS, up to you. But of course, because I make it universal, so everyone without any specific PC can go to console. Without any PC, you can do the coding as well here, right? So the cloud is here, here Git. Okay. So just now, actually, what we did is actually we are mapping the source code here. Okay. So actually, we are doing a Git clone from the GitHub, from Nando GitHub. So meaning the source code appear being here, right? Not yet going anywhere. I mean, the source code is still intact with the cloud shell. We are not deploying anything yet. But using the key cloud, actually, we can straight away request the Google Cloud Provider to do this. Okay, please deploy this source code to this serverless function. Okay, now you can see the difference, right? So you are dealing with the different area. So we are preparing the things. It's like this is the kitchen. You do coding here. You prepare the thing here. Then you execute the coding. Execute, of course, deploy it or publish it. So everyone in the world can access your endpoint. Okay. Without this, you can also do in your PC. So without this, let's say I cross this guy, you can clone the GitHub in your PC, but the prerequisite is simple. You need to install the CLI necessary, need to have, right? So Gcloud, Git, all those you need to have in your PC. So this one also is the normal way that we did in the enterprise kind of the situation. Just to show you this using this way, meaning you also can do the coding here. Now, let's deploy something. So at least from the source code, if I go back to this guy, I hope you already opened the source code, right? You see the code is the code is the code itself is JavaScript code, not JS. So for those that not familiar with Node.js, feel free. Next time, always add my link in if you want to ask something as well. We have a WhatsApp group, right? So always just asking. And then there is okay, there are two types of the processing here we allow. One is image, one is text. Okay, so the text itself, we try to append the API key, all those stuff, and then we try to call the Gemini API, do analyze what we want, okay, and then give the response, and we try to set ourselves, this is the very layman terms approach. We also can throw this to another engine like a call Vertex. We can create an auto ML here to play with this, but we are not doing this today. We just get the raw material from the Gemini. And then the second one is to extract the images. So in the image system, technically, we are posting to Gemini to return us and analyze for us the image. So here my prompt, extract the value as JSON, right? So here the extract the value as JSON, meaning we are passing base 64, and then we can get the value. Okay, good. That someone have asking, can I know how can we apply the URL to the Postman to test the Gemini API? Miss out that part. Good, no worry. So before I going back to that topic, I will try to deploy first, then later on I revisit. So Jinhua Chiao Na Kang, right? Okay, no worry. Later we will look back how to apply. So now, long story short, let's deploy this point. So this API, after you run the npm install, which is in the GitHub itself, is explained to you that npm install is here. Okay. Skip number 13. We are not creating from scratch because not enough time, definitely, just to explain to you what is the API and the Node.js, how it works. So technically, just follow my reference. Then let's deploy the serverless using the CLI. So here the CLI provided, as you can see here, what I will do here, I will copy this guy, put in Notepad, the one that you have defined, and replace the parameter one by one. Okay, Gemini API URL. So in this case, we need to get from the Postman. Okay, so the Postman just now is this one, right? So as you can see here, the Postman, this guy. So you copy the Postman until generate contents tab, and then paste it here. How about the API key? Same thing. API key I already put somewhere, right? So here API key. And then the serverless API key. Okay, so this is your custom. So is to just simple protection to your API. But next time, if you already advanced enough in the serverless, you can implement the SSO. You can implement any mechanic authentication and federation login with the AI IAM with Google Cloud. But for sake of this workshop, we try to get rid all those layers like authentication layer. We just simply put the API key here. So you can put the KitaHack 2024, 2025, right? So here, for example. Okay, someone always definitely will ask, what is this, right? So this is the CLI that provided by Google in order to execute and create the API for you. So you imagine you are not dealing with infrastructure right now. You are not defining any memory or computation like CPU, like a storage. It will come with default. You can tweak it later, right? So right now I give you the example that serverless technology, meaning like we are not dealing with the infrastructure too much here. Networking, storage, computation, and then the memory RAM and ROM. What you need to deal is you focus on your application layer, which is this is the coding level, right? So you imagine you have team, you focus on the coding, do this, done, right? Do I need to care about infrastructure? Yes. Once you have a lot requests coming in, then you need to tweak your code, and then you need to tweak your computation infrastructure. They provide the parameter and they provide the way to adjust the computation parameter. Meaning, let's say you feel 200 mega memory is not enough. By default, they will deploy around that particular computation limit. So yeah, let's deploy this. Once you have done this Google Cloud already, I hope everyone is still here, but if not, it's fine. Remember, you have this GitHub for you. I put here just for to you for your reference, right? So if I deploy this API, go to the what we call it, the back to this. Okay. So I paste here. So let's say I zoom out first. Copy. Okay. So what they will do is it will start to generate the endpoint, creating the API for you. Later I show you one by one. The API is storing is where, hosting is where. Now, as you can see here, another terminology: build, service, artifact, registry, health check, and trigger check. Wow. So welcome to the IT world, the software engineering world. We know the API is not only API. We have a container. They are using Docker container as well. They are using Kubernetes, but because they abstract the layer, you don't have to worry about that kind of configuration. If you work in enterprise, like me right now, I still working, right? So we are really dealing with the multiple configuration of infrastructure, right? So serverless technically is a new terms that abstract the infrastructure layer, so developer can focus on more to the coding level. So it's really helpful for data science, really helpful for the like ingestion system or like transferring data set. So you don't have to really think about overkill infrastructure to create the API, and then I just want to create a chatbot, for example. Okay, you can do this in the serverless manner. But if you really have a big kind of use case, then yeah, or big scope, then you need to consider another approach like Kubernetes. Someone asking where we can get your code for our reference. Okay, so I will share back again. So just now have share. Then at the time I deploy this, I also try to answer the Chiao Nakang question in the chat that can know how we can apply the URL to the Postman. Okay, so I go back to AI Studio. So as you can see, if I run this command, it will take some time, maybe a few minutes, 2-3 minutes. So let's go back to the API key here. In the Google AI Studio, if I refresh this guy, so you just need to click get API key, right? It will direct you to this page, API key. Then you copy this clipboard. You go to your Postman. Okay, then click the import function. Here there is a paste URL to import, right? So you can paste it here. Okay, I hope it's answered your question. So technically it will automatically import the URL. So next time when you generate the API or you create API for your friend, you also can click here as well. Code, you can share this guy to your friend. Okay, so CURL is the universal language for API integration using a Linux ecosystem. So Linux using CURL as well to integrate to any REST API. You imagine, let's say in the word that okay, we have production issue, then we need to test the API. Then I don't have Postman, so how to test the API? Of course, using CLI like CURL. It's a provided in Linux operating system. So always I encourage you guys to learn Linux because Linux is tools for if you want really hack something, learn Linux because it's everything. Okay, so I hope it's answered your question for Chiao Nakang. So okay, back to this. Now it's done. Oh, nice. Whew. If you run the correct command, it should see the same thing like what I saw just now, like we see together in the screen. As you can see here, there is a manifest, right? And then here, as you can see, memory default they assign to us 256 megabyte, right? So if I copy this guy, I'm not sure whether I can zoom this. Maybe if I put here, I can zoom it somewhere. Okay, so I just copied the output from the CLI just now, right? So they give us a 265 byte Gen 2, and then we are passing. As you can see here, why I using this way mechanic of the best practice when you want dealing with serverless, either using the key vault or using another place to store your sensitive information. So in this case, Gemini API key, API URL is exposed not by. So bear in mind that any sensitive key don't put in your source code because it's allow hacker or anyone that think or abuse your software, right? So put the sensitive code in another place. I know this session is recording, right? Don't worry, the key will not be available once this workshop done. I will always delete it. But of course, for your case, because your own API key, right? You need to take care about that. So that's why for now we execute using this way environment variable. So then they give us the URL. So you see this URL. Nice. So you have the URL. So you put in your Postman. Remember, when you design the API, you need to understand the request, you need to understand the response structure. So in this case, because it's my own API, I design in such a way that this API will have a JSON request using this way. So if I go back to this guy, so if you see the API structure, right, we have request and response. The request, technically, what I expect from the body, actually, I need someone pass me this 4 parameter at least. So that's why I actually, in another word, we have an open API as well to expose the API manifest, meaning someone can see my request actually structure, my response is being structured in such a way, so you know when you request something using this format, then you can get the response, expect response. So don't worry. So right now I also share the CURL folder here. So the CURL file here technically. So you can see the structure. Okay, so it looks like it's disconnected from Cloud Shell. Okay, so anyway, so this is the what we call it. Yeah, the way we integrate, right? So we expose the API to the server. So if I go back to Draw.io, technically just now what we are doing is actually we telling Google, hey Google, please deploy my API to serverless mindset, right? Serverless manner. So this is my source code. Please deploy it for me. Okay. Then my source code actually have integration with Gemini as well inside. Then I also expose it the environment variable here. Okay, so let's go back to this. I'm not sure why my cloud shell suddenly disconnect. Let's reboot. Okay, let's see. So I need to authorize. So right now we are on the step number 14 and step number 15. So technically, right now I try to get the endpoint and try to see the API. It's like how, whether it's work or not. Then after that, we talk about the parameter in Gemini API, which is temperature, top K, top P, all those generative configuration, right? The token and all the stop parameter. Let's see this one, whether it's loading. And then if you run successfully, right, it should state active. So state active meaning it's mentioned that your API is ready to use. Okay. Okay, good. So now it's running back. And then the Postman right now was if I can show you the folder in the GitHub here called CURL. So simple to access our endpoint, newly created endpoint, right? So let's play with the image with the text first. So if for the text, so as you can see here, this is the JSON, right? You always can copy this as just now what I showed to you, import and paste it here. Then Postman will automatically translate it into the endpoint, right? Then as you can see here, the body is here. XAPI key, haha. As you remember, just now what is the value that we pass in? So it's back to you, right? So if I go back to this particular line of code, if you remember, so this is the place that we run, right? So the run we copy this line of code, then actually we pass in KitaHack 2025 So here I have to pass in this, okay, because we define the API key and validate it against the request. So it's a hard-coded validation, very simple validation, just to protect this API. It's very simple manner. Okay, and then what else I should put? Okay, so here is the endpoint. So this request structure is actually designed by me in such a way just to test whether when we pass it the text, what we see from the endpoint from Gemini. So if I hit, before you hit, you need to ensure the endpoint, right? So just now because I using another project, so the endpoint looks a bit different. For your case, you need to copy the URL from here, right? So here, technically here. So you need to replace your URL, your own URL after deploy, okay? When you click send, so this endpoint will help you to do analyze with Gemini integration in between, right? So here, I absolutely love the new phone I bought. It's amazing, right? What is the sentiment? Oh, positive. Why is positive? Yeah, because we set a rule, a very straightforward rule, but it based on whatever Gemini so response. So very basic. So if I open Gemini here, let's go back to the Gemini endpoint. Where is my Gemini? This is the image extraction. Where is my Gemini just now, which is this one, right? Okay, so here, if I open here, so if I just pass the method like this, right, what Gemini will respond is very simple. That's a fantastic. I'm so glad to hear you loving your new phone. What do you love about this the most? What kind of phone is I'm or here? Okay. So using this way, technically, it's very basic. We just understand this sentiment. By right, we should pass into a Vertex AI actually to also identify and build another our custom model following our use case. Yeah, if we have another session, I will teach you this integration. But of course, right now I show you the integration between Serverless to Gemini REST API, right? So here is the one sample use case. Anyone have the API running? You can put in the chat. Let's say you have run the API successfully or until now not yet able to deploy. Let us know as well, okay? So other than this, so you see the type is text, right? I pass in the full set of text, tell the endpoint to process this to Gemini one by one, and then do it parallel processing. So here actually in JavaScript, we have a parallel processing just to pass the text sentiment. So I'm using promise all just to gather all the direct the text and then pass to Gemini, okay? Simple here. But of course, the interesting part is actually when it comes to image. So here, okay, so image, right? So how image work? Assume I have a invoice like this. I show you in the chat. So Gemini is actually multimodal API, also allow us to integrate with image and with I will sample you a image right now. So image, let's open the image in the new tab. You save it somewhere. So once you save, right, you convert this in 64. Okay. Just the image, the 64 base 64 value show code. Okay, so this is I using this website to convert the image to another knowledge for those that really first in the software engineer. This one is you already know this, but if you just start for the today using this image analyzing, it's fine. For your information, image is need to be at least encoded in such a way because it's a binary file, right? So we need to convert it into the format that could understand this particular image. So that's why we call it base 64. Okay. So this base 64 format, we need to pass this image as a base 64. So meaning this all the random string here technically represent the image itself. Okay. So most of the endpoint actually understand the base 64 format, like a JSON technically, but for image. Okay. So what you need to do is actually you copy the base 64 here. If I copy the clipboard, okay. So here is the base 64. Let me see. Then I just copy from this line of code image. And then I'm back to my API. So just now I already deployed the API. Now my API is alive. So I want to run this as well for the image processing. So here I copy already, right? So I already sampling it today morning. So I duplicate this one. All right. So we're using the same endpoint, but different payload. Okay. So the payload should looks like this. So you can copy this from the URL in the browser here. Let's say I go to the where is just now the browser. So in the URL here, you see the payload structure for image, right? You can copy this. Or you always can do URL as well, the import the URL if you don't want to do it manually. So I show you the automatic way. So let's close other tabs to avoid confusion. So here, if I import the URL just now, I copy from the URL file. Everything is there. So if I go back to the, so you see in the directory of the GitHub itself, we have a URL file. So here you can copy this, okay, paste it in your Postman, import it, then automatically will give you the endpoint request. Then you have to replace the URL. So the URL here is actually, this is the one, the endpoint that I deploy in the serverless manner. And then the API key, you have to replace it with your own API key, the one that you deploy above, which is this one, serverless API key, KitaHack. All right. Then the body itself, we have text, empty, image, and then what else? Do I need to pass generation config? Okay, so image we don't have to. So even without this also we can do. Okay, let's send. Let's click send. So what happened here, actually, we are giving the image to the Gemini to help us analyze. Hey, Gemini, help us analyze the image. The prompt is very basic. I put the basic prompt, like a very simple prompt, like as you can see in the index.js. You see my prompt is very simple. Extract the value as JSON. Wow. So you see that this image, I want to extract it as a JSON. You imagine how in my era, right, let's say 15 years back, if let's say we want to do OCR, we need to have a library. We have to really capture all those things. Now it's being abstract in the API level. So pass the image to them, give the parameter to AI, then do this for you. So the image itself being analyzed in such a way in the AI using their algorithm, and then we can see the result here. Okay. So here I pass the image through my API, and my API connect to the Gemini. The question now, image already analyzed, right? So now what is this guy? So this is the one that actually the main topic that we need to learn today. So when you interact with AI, right, they can do anything, generate a text, analyze the image, whatever, right? They call it generative AI, meaning there is a meaning behind it. You can generate anything technically, right, related to the multimedia system or multimodal, like text, image, video, even sound. But along the way, technically, most of the AI itself using the same universal language as well, like a token. We call it tokenization, factor embedding, factor database, and all the algorithm related, just to make sure the things is connected. Meaning, we are asking AI, technically they are learning from them. So you see the unique part is here, like there is a rewarding system in AI. So we call them, ask them to do something for us. They give us the response. There are two options, right? After you retrieve the response, you can always talk to them that saying, this is a bad response, this is a good response. They run it right. But that phase technically already passed. So you see, we are not in the phase of learning. They already have. That's why they always come out with a new model like Gemini, ChatGPT, Cloud, Atrostop, right? This model technically already give you a preset database that technically related to the correlation between the information. It's like you have a brain already here. The brain itself still learning, You ask something, they do it for you. So you just treat this as another human. Slowly, the level of intellectual become a PhD level. Right now, I think it's a senior high school level for some AI. And then go to the graduate level for the specific subject like a math or physics. So you see this particular thing, right? Now the token, how they count it? Very simple. So the token, technically, if I go back to the, let's see, the generative AI. Say I run this one. Yeah, this is the REST API from the Google AI Studio, right? Basic REST API. Just call, pass in your text, and that's it. And then you can see here, technically, they treat us a prompt token count. So here, technically, there is a parameter called prompt token count. They call it 4. Now, where is 4? Prompt meaning is the one that you pass to them. So meaning this is the one that we are request to them. 1, 2, 3, 4. They chunk it by word level, right? Some GPT using another terms like each for every 4 character. but some model is using each word split by the space or comma or anything. Then they have a candidate token count and total token count. So this technically is generative config. We can play around with this. Okay, so for example, let me see my sample here. Okay, let's go to this. Okay, what is temperature? What is max output token? So temperature technically is giving you the nuance, right? How the AI behave when you pass in the temperature. It depends whether you want to make it deterministic. Oh, okay, what is the term of deterministic? And another term like optimistic result. So there is a two option or another option, last right option is the creativity. What you want from AI, you want them to be super creative, give you a lot of explanation and terms, or you want to make it formal as possible, or you want to make it friendly as possible. So it depends on the temperature, because temperature is related to the okay, so if I show to this particular thing, because actually before we did that dive into this Gemini, you need to have a fundamental about how the deep learning and reinforced learning work, because everything now is abstract to the API level, right? So if I can open this guy, okay, maybe I can open like this vector database. Sample, I think this one. So we need to understand this first actually. Okay, nice. This one is good. Nice sample. Yeah, but of course, I know today actually we are talking about the integration from serverless to Gemini REST API, right? To talk about AI and then to let the AI process for us. Along the way, you need to learn about this as well, because this one is the how the things is work in the behind the scene. So the text when we pass to them, there is a certain algorithm as well to label the particular text. We are asking them to do something, right? Let's say we are passing them, they respond it for us, or we can dictate them. Okay, if I passing the image for you, for example, I passing the image like this, what we want to do is we want them to analyze for us, for example. Then we have to give a prompt, right? So it's like you are dictate them, this is my image, this is the prompt. But how they know this image technically has this particular information? This is the black box for you guys, definitely, right? But at least along the way, you know that the Gemini API actually using this kind of method as well, the transformer architecture. And now I think recently they talk about agentic AI. So all the text, technically, they already trained it long time ago. We're using a big machine, we call it a kind of supercomputer as well, to create such a model that telling you this text related to this particular text. So that's why this label have to be trained before, meaning we have preset trained data. Now today, actually, I show you how we just, how to say, dealing with the AI itself. But data set like this is already configured in Gemini, meaning in the Google, right? Google own the data, pre-trained data set. For your case, let's say you want to create your own custom sentiment analytic, right? I would always suggest you to using a Vertex AI. You create your own custom model, but you need to prepare your own data set. So you have a model, then only you can train and you can access this model and you can use this model. So we call it custom model. We call it, we need to have a data embedding layer. But our case, because we are interact with Gemini, Gemini actually already done this phase long time ago. So now they are on the phase that generate the thing for you, right? Generate the thing for you. Then when they generate, you respond for them. Then they rerun the training level to make the knowledge, make it become more smarter. So that's how happen in Gemini ecosystem. But it's black box to you, right? Black box to us. But along the way, later on, if let's say we have another session, I will teach you about the custom model AI with Vertex. But of course, I see some of the Google DevFest speaker as well has will be explain about the Vertex AI as in the coming future, right, for the KitaHack. So yeah. Anyway, so focus today is serverless. So technically, this have to learn, right? So before you go with all those technical integration, but at least you know what happening. So you see, okay, what time we left? 11:33. So I think I have to ask Minhan and Eunice as well whether we still have time.
Hi Nando. So how an estimated how long do you need to complete the holding?
Yeah, I think I almost come technically.
Then I think maybe you can complete it if you want. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Then so technically now we have the repo is there. You always can learn from this, right? So the repo is there. You have these particular things, and this is the API. Now you see the API. Someone always asking about API, right? So API itself, we have the name. Okay, the name is generated for you like this. Do you feel this one is friendly enough, right? For let's say when you have your own company, you want to use the name. Okay, of course you need to resolve this name. You can make it a custom domain name. But of course, you want to see the API how it behave or perform. You need to open one. You click the Cloud Run. Open the Google Cloud menu, right? So you open the Cloud Run. So in the Cloud Run, actually, it will appear a endpoint is alive under your project, right? Okay, so if I click this is the one that actually just now we deploy, right? 25 minutes ago. So if I click this, as you can see here, the domain provided for you automatically, right? Then what I just now during the presentation, I explained that you might have a chance to increase your computation. Let's say you feel that 256 megabyte is too low, you can define in your CLI or even in the source here. Let's say I close this one. Not sure why it's not able to close. Okay, so you go to source. You see, even in the source itself is allow you to edit the source code here. Okay, so this is the source is definitely for source code, right? So you can edit it here, but I always edit it using Cloud Shell as well, so it will be interesting. Okay, and then what is the just I mentioned the edit and deploy new version. You need to click edit and deploy new version. Here, as you can see here, all the things mentioned here. So you always can custom the memory. You can always custom the CPU. Of course, this one is not enough time to explain, right? How the memory is behave in the cloud computing manner and how the CPU is being calculated. Is it like what we know in Core i7 or in the Core i5 or in Celeron? How many megahertz is not defined here because they're using CPU unit, which is another terminology to cloud computing computation, right? And also we have a GPU here. Let's say you want to spawn the learning using a Jupyter notebook. And so here, technically, we have variable and secret. So this is the way that just now we passing using CLI. So you imagine that you have a pipeline, then your pipeline we passed in parameter and then deploy to the Google. So you don't have to put this into the code. Like for example, you put this directly into your source code is a big no-no. I won't suggest that. That's why at the first time I show the this is we are using environment which is defined here. We are using process.env. So this one technically is automatically embedded once you deploy this API that which is defined by this line of which is this one set env var. Okay, so environment variable meaning this environment I have this variable, but I don't want to define it in my source code because otherwise people can access my API key, then they can do something, right? I don't know, right? So bear in mind that security in the mindset as well. So when you build the API, you need to do that. One word to share is last but not least is actually the just now generative config, right? So let's go back to generative config. What is the difference then? Let's say we go back to the this one. if I pass this line of code to the AI, make it beautify. You see, I define, just now you can see the response is super long, right? But I can define the max output token here, 100. And you see the way the AI responds to you is, okay, let's break down how AI work in Y, blah, 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 right? So here, let's say I copy. This is with this configuration, temperature and max output token. How if, let's say, we tweak this to 1? Let's see the difference. If I ask you which part you prefer, okay. So when the temperature become more, definitely the text is will be more. How to say? If you feel the vibes that the way they say something like, "Oh, super formal," okay. So what else? So let's say maybe this one explain how AI works, and then okay. So last but not least is this one. You need to understand about the temperature token and all those. Let me share you this. Gemini. Okay, so it's what to share here. Let me copy this to you and put it in chat. Okay, so here let's go to generation config. Okay, so here. So we can control the information that they want to return to us. So of course you can simulate it before you test the NI in the AI Studio. That's why they call it AI Studio, to allow you to experiment with the parameter and then see until which parameter you actually feel this one is okay. Okay, so yeah, I think this is the max output temperature. Yeah, I think for now, that's it for now. I think most probably, I think this topic will always come around, I think, within this particular year. So just keep learning. So this one actually just introduction. So technically, once we have another session, maybe we will be good to share another one. But yeah, technically now today, at least you have the serverless running, the API is running, they have capability to analyze the text and then image as well for you, the Dive Gemini. So, and then someone, last but not least, is the question, why we have create the new API if we say the REST API already provided by the Gemini? Good question. So your own API actually provide you a flexibility to do business logic, right? So you imagine, let's say the API that they provide for you, only one. But how you want to make sure your own custom use case, let's say you have a chatbot, you have, for example, you want to analyze the invoice just now, like I say, I want to analyze the content of this invoice. So of course we need to understand as well the invoice being it's just an input for them, right? So we need to make sure the input is correct. Then that's why you need to create your custom API. You cannot simply directly integrate with them, right? With your mobile application, or this is the purpose of the API built for your customization, right? So you can control and you can play around with the parameter as well here. But you see, you have an endpoint available, then you can access in everywhere, right? So technically, you see how fast the technology. You don't have to think about the infrastructure for now, but at least you can focus on your application and you can interact with your Gemini. Okay, I think that's it for today. Then you can, if you have, yep, feel free to ask. Thank you. I hand over back to you, Minhan or Eunice.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Nando. So I think I think I will move forward to the Q&A session first.
Yep.
And Mr. Nando, do you mind if I share my screen so that
Yep.
I can show the Slido link to everyone? Is my screen visible? Yeah. Okay. For the first question. Oh yeah. By the way, if all of you have any questions, feel free to type in the code or maybe click into the link that we sent in the so that you can ask the questions over here. And Mr. Nando and I will try to answer all the questions regarding KitaHack or maybe regarding the workshops for today. So for the first question, I need to sign up Google Cloud for free and my CC/DC before opening the Google AI Studio. Am I on the right track? I'm scared I will be billed later. Maybe Mr. Nando, do you have any advice for this?
Yep. Thank you. So yeah, I think this is the first question for everyone that want to start to learn the cloud computing, right? Whether I will be in bill or if I call the API, my bank will go on, right? Let's say I have some 100 ringgit in bank or I don't know, right? So that is always the question that uh, haunted everyone when I go to workshop, right? So, don't worry, technically, if you apply as free tire, right, as long you know your the limit, you also can monitor in API key, the one that I show you in the earlier presentation. You can go to the usage quota and check the whether the things is being billed, how many times being called, and then whether it's exceed the tire of the free tire if you are using free tire just for your research purpose. Let's say you are professional level, let's say you have your own application running on tops of the Google Cloud platform. Yeah, bear in mind definitely everything have to pay because it's we call it pay as you go. You want to use something that they provide, right? So that is the thing. But of course, there is a building configuration management as well. So you need to understand from the Google Cloud, you can control your usage. You can set a policy. You can set a threshold. Yeah, that is the one that I can answer. So if back to your question, whether you are on the right track, yes, I scale bill rater. If you are using a free tire, definitely you are not. So, but of course, it's worth to monitor your usage. 1 million token is way more than enough to play around, right? 1 million token, you imagine they give you 1 million token free, but even more than free tire is always quite cheaper as well. For each million, actually, is only or two USD, which is more than your boba price, I guess. So yeah, let's say you buy boba outside after this, or Starbucks, definitely is more expensive than that. But of course, it's worth to put in your mindset that if you want to learn something, you understand first the war zone. Let's say, oh, wait, this feature is free, then definitely it's free, right? So I have to register my credit card or debit card. But you need to monitor, right? You cannot like, okay, let it run. Of course, you need to monitor time to time. So that's why Google has provided you the billing management system. You can always access the billing in the menu of the Google Cloud console. Yep. Yes, I can answer.
Okay, thank you, Nando. So the second question, what happens if you use the same AI key for all of your projects?
Nice. So, in the terms of the best practices, right? So, API key actually is giving you an insight that this is for what purpose, right? So, if you ask me, I always suggest to have a different API key for different purpose, if possible. So that is it will be easily to do a granular report that imagine, let's say I have a API key for chatbot, then I have a API key for analyze my image, let's say. Then I have a mobile apps running for both API key, so you can know, you will know, oh, okay, this particular API key being used by mobile is using this particular request. Then easily to understand the quota as well in the end of the day, right? So always the best practice, each API key have their own usage. So it's more accessible. So whether you want to use it for all your project is up to you. Yep.
Thank you. That makes a very big sense. All right. So how to join KitaHack? I think this one is more on my side.
More to your side. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So unfortunately, KitaHack has already the registration for KitaHack has already closed. However, there is still a new competition, which is the APEC GDGOC Solution Challenge that involves multiple countries, and Malaysia is one of them. So you can feel free to join that. as we had already attached the link over here, and later I'll send the link in the group as well. And one good news is the prize pool for this APAC GDGOC Solution Challenge 2025 is up to USD 5,000. So feel free to check it out at the official website. And yeah, looking forward to your submissions. And how to join KitaHack? Yeah, the same thing. Next question. I am still brainstorming about the hackathon. Which is the easiest and cost-effective to implement? Maybe this up to you, Nando.
Oh, okay. So this is my, if I can suggest you guys, right? So because I uh last time being a judges as well in the hackathon as a participant, as a judges, and as a professional expert last that time as well. So any hackathon technically back to the topic, right? So if the topic dictate something related to the how to say, like for example, the renewable energy or the carbon free or anything, just make sure your technology related to that or your software related to that. If you talk about the cost effective and easiest, always bear in mind that everything has a price for that, right? So if you want to go with the level of hackathon, you can always go with the POC level. So you need to make sure that you have a 3-tier level, like POC, MVP, and the general availability. So you can go with the POC level first, meaning you show something related to the core functionality instead going through to the, like I said in the previous stage, like someone plant the mango with the bare hand, someone plant the mango with the excavator. Which one is makes sense? So set the scope of your thing, right? And then make sure it's aligned with the topic. So I think it will a good chance for you to win the hackathon. Let's say you want to become a winner, but if you want to learning something new in the hackathon, also good. Don't need to think too much. All those cloud computing provided technically is the hosted environment, right? The most important thing is your idea, right? Your idea is what, whether it will have for your society, or it will be scalable, or it will be how to say, it will be super helpful for everyone around your community. Then it's more important for me, because technology is just technology, right? You can learn, you can assign someone to learn it, or you can hire someone to do it for you, right? If let's say you want to. But if you want to join the hackathon, make sure you have a solid topic, solid understanding. Then the technology, you can always justify, oh, I should use serverless instead using Kubernetes. Then I use go serverless, right? No point to use Kubernetes or virtual machine if they say you only call one API. So make sure the justification coming with the logical sense. Of course, if you don't have experience, feel free to talk with your professional mentor, or if you have lecture, you have anything that more expert than you. You need to get the information from them. Yep.
So next question, I saw a question in the chat box. I am a beginner participant in KitaHack Hackathon, and I requested the ChatGPT for API code, and they give me more simpler. My technical mark will be deducted if I not included any validation or verification processes in the code, or just enough to make it full functionality. So if you are able to prove that you utilizes at least one of the Google AI technology that includes GCP Vertex AI, Gemini, as well as using any of the APIs in Google AI Studio, then it is fine. If you did not utilize any one of it and you uses other brands such as ChatGPT, then 50% of your AI implementation marks will be deducted. So I hope that clarifies your question, Ali. All right, let's get back to the Slido. So next question, care to show the first presentation of Ivan Teddy, which is Nando, with the real-time docs and Excel with an AI like a ChatGPT answer. I hope you got the recordings. I think if not mistaken, this one will be the first one in Monash. If not mistaken, am I correct, Nando?
Oh, real-time doc and Excel with AI link like ChatGPT. I'm not that sure whether it's related, because that one, I'm not sure the statement is whether it's question or something like to show the with real-time doc and Excel with an AI link like a ChatGPT answer. I hope you got recording. if let's say related to the first the one that workshop in Monash, it might be need to worth to check with the GDSC in Monash, because I think the recording is handled by them as an organizer. Yep.
Okay, thank you. And for your information, yes, they have the recording and they are still uploading to YouTube. So once
Mm.
the recordings are up online, then we'll definitely inform all of you.
Yep.
So the next question, can I use Google Collab? Um, I'm not too sure what does it means over here. Can I use Google Collab in terms of what? Maybe for those who ask this question, maybe can give more specific questions on maybe if you are referring this to KitaHack, or maybe you have more specific questions towards this workshop, then maybe can give more description and Nando can answer this later. Next, this is a very good question. For learning Linux, should I use virtual machine or download it separately? Quite lost on how to start it.
Nice, nice. Always everyone has start from the beginner, right? So like me last time, I my first, I think I learned the coding, I think during senior high school as well. At the time I learned Pascal and the C++. So bear in mind that Linux is the free operating system you can use in your own PC. You can install as a dual mode, or if you don't want, you can also using Raspberry Pi, or if you don't want, also you can use cloud provider like me. CloudShare technically is Linux, right? So learning Linux technically is how to say, you don't have to uh, how to say, you can use your own virtual machine, up to you. You can, it's back to you technically, whether you have a limitation in terms of okay, I don't have much money to spawn the virtual machine for one, let's say 1 month. I spawn my virtual machine Linux is 25 US dollar, which is maybe you have a concern for that. So I think you can use WSL as well, Windows System Subsystem Linux. That one is free if let's say you are using Windows 11. So it is also good to play around with a Linux environment in that particular. You have a lot of option technically, so you don't have to worry. Yep. You can use this Windows Subsystem Linux. You can install Ubuntu in dual mode. You can spawn virtual machine. You can use Raspberry. So all those things is has a Linux operating system. So yeah. So if you ask how to install Linux, okay, you can ask ChatGPT or you can ask Gemini. So that is another topic, right? So, but at least I give you advice. Yeah, you can learn it from anywhere, like, technically. Yeah.
Thank you. So next question. I think this I also realized this in the chat previously. My
Okay.
function failed. It stated listen to the port
Oh,
80
nice.
80.
Cool. So if you see the function is failed, so you need to check whether you are running the correct statement. But because if you copy paste by reg, it should be following the same, right? X0 is the default port that actually container provide for this particular Node.js application. If let's say you feel fail, there is a definitely there is a possibility there is a something wrong, meaning maybe you are passing the API URL wrongly, or API key wrongly, and also first API key wrongly. So you need to make sure that three parameter have to be super correct, right? Ensure that one is correct first. If that one is still not working, for example, for some reason, I also no idea. So most probably you need to run the npm install one more time. So you see there is a step that you have to run the npm install right at the first stage. So that is also cannot be missed. So because this one is case by case basis, I can explain you as a general level, meaning you need to ensure the npm install is run in your directory, meaning you need to go to your own directory, then only you can run the function deploy. Then if you see X0 still occur, then you need to go to the log. So you can always see the log in the Google Code Serverless log. What is the line of the code that causing this error? Most probably is always related to the API key you are passing wrongly API key, or the API URL is wrong as well. So they're unable to start.
Okay, thank you. Any advice would you give for someone wanted to pursue an AI career?
Oh, good question. Last time someone asked me as well in the morning. So AI, right? So I coming from the full stack background. I'm specialist in cloud computing and backend. I think over the decade level already. Now I start to learn AI. You imagine people like me start to learning AI as well. Start to become intermediate AI engineer as well, learning about reinforcement and deep learning. Um, if you ask me advice, make sure you have a good fundamental in the March or in the software engineer. So I can give you a roadmap. So this is what to share. So this is just a knowledge to everyone. Normally I using this link. So I put in the chat. So you can open the chat. Uh, so I put in the chat right now. So if you open this link roadmap.hs, normally I also always follow this. So you see sometimes people like me already professional level, right? So I want to learn something. Should I attend the university one more time or anything? Maybe in the future, but I always have a roadmap when I learn something because I don't want to lost in the jungle, right? Let's say today I so excited of someone talking about AI, but tomorrow after that I don't have a motivation. So in order to make it objective, so you need to go to roadmap level. I share the roadmap in the chat link, so you can always open this website. Not only AI engineer, you want to become anything, I think is here as well. So this is the if you click the link, you can see the basic technique fundamental that you have to learn before you become a AI engineer, right? So use this roadmap as well before you graduate from your university, learn something. So if you click one by one the item, they can refer you the explanation and which resource you have to learn from that, like factor embedding, factor database, what is the inference. All those things, if you rely on your university, never enough. That's what I can advise you. So please learn by roadmap level, learn from professional level as well. So you have two word combined in your mind. So you are ready for become AI engineer. Yep. From roadmap, create the portfolio or create a POC, post in your GitHub, then show to the world. Yep.
Okay, thank you. So it's 12 p.m. already. Is Nando, is it okay for us to take last one, two, three, four,
Sure,
five,
sure. We
last
still have
five
time.
question?
No problem.
Okay,
Yep.
nice. Okay, so my next their next question is I want to build an e-commerce chatbot, but I'm a little bit confused on how to start. Any advice or any end resources?
Okay. Chatbot. Yeah, depends which kind of chatbot that you are looking for. So for example, uh there are some technology that really advanced in terms of the things that, for example, right, you imagine right now we are talking about Gemini. um in order to build the chatbot, you need to have a domain knowledge of that particular thing being hosted somewhere. Then your chatbot can learn it from that. For example, let's say you're talking about chatbot related to, let's say you have restaurant, right? So your restaurant have a chatbot. So your chatbot can do something like ordering the meal, checking the history of the payment, checking the reward, all those time, right? You can implement that kind of type of chatbot without the AI also can. You can use NLP or using Google Dialogflow. I can share you the link as well. So this is my favorite Google. Anyway, I'm not a Google consultant, right? So but at least I last time explored a lot about this conversational agent as well. If you want to be the chatbot, so here I put in the chat. It's what to share as well to every one of you if you want to learn the chatbot. So you can use a conversational agent or the dialog flow. So that one also is really nice. Okay, so if I can go with the dialog flow, let me share you the link because last time I put my own chatbot as well somewhere. So dialog flow is this dialog flow Google Cloud. So it's part of the Google Cloud product as well. Okay, so this particular product actually will help you to uh, create your own agent. But of course, it's a different word, right? So we have a chatbot, but the question whether chatbot you want to con what we call it, continue it with AI, LLM, or just a normal AI, or just a simple machine learning, or without machine learning at all, just push in the context and the we call it the context agent or natural language processing without any algorithm, also can. Back to your use case. Remember, find the proper use case or find the proper scope before you decide something, right? Because I saw a lot of people join the hackathon or join the kind of KitaHack movement or anything, right? They going too far without limit of the scope. So they are using super fancy technology, but the things that they build is very basic. So you need to adjust, right? So yeah, this is a sample. You can learn from Dialogflow. This one is really good. I last time used it as well.
Okay, thank you, Nando. All right, so I would like to learn more about this. Where can I learn any suggested resources? So one of the suggested resources will be Cloud Skill Boost. If you are part of the GDGLC, you can try to request some of the credits from the GDGLC and see whether they can organize any study jam, and the GDGLC can request some of the credits from the Google itself. Or maybe you are already part of the developer program, then you will be getting if not mistaken, 60 credits every month. So feel free to discover more of this kind of program. Or maybe Nando, do you have extra additional points to add up for this?
Yep, sure. So Cloud Skill Boost is one of them, definitely. I also have a Cloud Skill Boost profile there. So really help you a lot to boost your skill set in the Google Cloud platform. And also you can also buy the course from Udemy, or also the any online e-learning platform as well to learn about Google Cloud product. As long you know the basic of the fundamental itself, then you can slowly understand. Okay, cloud computing has this product, from the virtual machine until the Google Cloud Run, until the serverless, from the machine learning, Vertex AI, and the dialog flow, and even a tensor flow technology as well. So that kind of thing, technically, it's back to the how you want to get the information. If you want, definitely has a way. So like me, last time I learned also, first time I learned the Google product, also no idea what I need to learn. That's why I go to the roadmap level. So when I see the roadmap, because I also give an insight from someone, so that's why I try to paying forward to you guys to give you an insight that learn by roadmap, so you are not lost in the jungle. So you can use a roadmap.sh. I have shared in the chat as well. There is a link. You click the information there. There is a resource link to that. You can learn from that, either Udemy or Pluralsight or anything. They touch it there.
Thank you so much, Nando, for your advice. Next question, are there any rate limits or quotas we should be aware when we scaling the Gemini API usage?
Yep. So there is a pricing technically for the free tier as well. So 1 million token technically, is what we know so far. So technically we have all those limited pricing as well for the Gemini. Maybe I can share the doc what to know. So let me put in the chat. Okay. So there is actually a pricing link for all the Gemini model.
Okay, thank you, Nando. Is there a WhatsApp group for mentoring with Nando? I have an idea for the hackathon, and if this is feasible, I don't want to share it with the group yet.
Wow, so
Um,
harness.
Maybe my suggestion will be maybe you can approach Nando through LinkedIn, and then maybe you can try to have a chat with Nando in LinkedIn if Nando is free. So I think that would be more appropriate, and maybe you can see how both of you can connect together maybe after on.
Yep.
Or maybe Nando, you got any idea?
Yep. You can. I don't have Discord anyway. Then I also still work as professional, right? But of course, you can approach me in LinkedIn or Medium. So I can share the link of my LinkedIn as well, or I can share the last slide as well to all of you. You can scan my LinkedIn. Yep. Later on after this.
Okay, nice. So our final question for both of these related to cybersecurity. Not sure how it relates to GCP and Gemini, but
Yep.
is cybersecurity a good majoring to choose now? What can I learn to stand out in any resources? And I am into ethical hacking, any resources and roadmap into it.
Oh, yeah, I always love the roadmap.sh, so I share you the cybersecurity, even though it's maybe not related to this particular GCP, but it's what to understand that AI at the software engineer world is really big, man. So I can share you the link, like a roadmap here, because I really love this kind of the developer roadmap. So as you can see there, technically all the roadmap related is very, wow. I can say you want to become a game developer, cybersecurity, data engineer, DevOps, everything is there, even blockchain engineer. So that's why I love this roadmap, and I try to follow that kind of roadmap. Then it's proof that I can always learn something, following the hierarchy or track. Cybersecurity part of the technically interesting topic as well, and then it's quite happening as well. It's always there. don't worry. Cybersecurity always there. The chance and the opportunity is always there.
Okay, thank you. I think one row you rose your hand. Are there anything you wanted to speak to Nando? Okay, I think maybe there's a misclick. Nando, is it okay for the really final last question?
Yeah, sure. Don't worry. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
I think. Oh, okay. I'm not sure whether can I share this to you. Okay, I share this into the chat so that Nando you can get access to.
Yep.
So he is referring to this AI agent. Is this paid
Mhm.
or free? Still experimenting.
Oh, okay. So this one is the Dialogflow Essential, right? New agent. Yeah, Dialogflow also has pricing. Okay, so just bear in mind anything come with price with when we talk about the cloud computing. So just put the budget for that. So let me share the pricing for the Dialogflow. Okay, so let me share you the pricing. Like serverless also have a pricing, but of course because you are free, how to say using a free tier, then you can use this. So even the pricing for the Google Cloud Run also has a pricing. For me, my mindset is very, I always teach my student as well, everywhere I go is simple, put a budget, right? So put a budget and play around with the budget. Let's say you know the pricing, oh, there is a free, then go with free first because there is a free tier, why you need to pay, right? Then you can explore something, then you decide, oh, okay, then if they say this one is makes sense for my project, then I can pay. But how much I need to pay, you need to understand as well, right? Before you anywhere, like I think before you buy any product, you need to understand the product, how the things is being pricing. So for example, I share you two things in the chat, Dialogflow and the Google Cloud Run. Everything is transparent. Then also you can play around with the limit as well. You can set a threshold policy in the Google, so you can know, okay, my API I already put 100 ringgit per month. So if let's say already hit 80 ringgit being used, then automatically send to my email then saying, hey bro, you almost exceed the budget. You sure will continue? If not, I will stop your service. Simple, right? So it's very fair. So back to the mindset that you need to set the budget definitely to play around with this. Don't worry, free tire is 300 USD is more than enough for student or for whatever POC you want to play around with Google. They're really keen with this kind of thing. So yeah, that's my answer.
Thank you, Nando. Then I think that's the end of our Q&A session. So for all participants, feel free to scan the QR code over here to fill in the feedback form. And also there is a link attached in the chat, so you can click into it and also access to the feedback forms, because your feedback really matters and we wanted to know where can we improve in our future workshops. So maybe I'll leave this screen on for about 5 seconds for all of you to screenshot or maybe to scan it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's proceed to our photography session. So before we have a final photography session with all of the participants, maybe we wanted to have a souvenir session with Nando. So maybe all the committee members can turn on your camera as well, and also our photographer can have a screenshot of this memorable moment. All right, so okay, so okay, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and then I think I'm gonna stop sharing, and also so that we can fit all of the participants. So kindly maybe the rest of the participants can turn on your camera so that it can be one of the precious moment together in this workshop. Okay. All right. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And I think maybe our last one with this GDG logo. Okay. 1, 2.
GDG. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Amira, is it okay? Yeah, it's good. Thank you. So, all right, I'll share back the screen. Please don't leave first. There is a few announcements for everyone. Okay, so once again, thank you so much, Mr. Nando, for joining us today, and we really learned a lot. There's of new knowledge learning, for example, even including something that is not related to this workshop, and it's really very informative. And we hope to have another session with you again, Nando.
Sure.
Hopefully. So next, moving forward to our announcement. So stay tuned for our upcoming KitaHack workshop. That is a Firebase workshop from BTM, and also Vertex AI workshop from Monash. So feel free to scan the QR code and also to RSVP yourself. Or if you are unable to scan it over here, feel free to look through our KitaHack Instagram, and then you will see the registration link over there. And moving more specifically for GDG on campus UM. So for this one, next week we are going to have a Gen AI sharing session. So for those who are free, not only UM students, you can join too to get more insights about Gen AI, and it is totally online. And one big event is happening. That is GDG on campus UM week. That is happening next month. So stay tuned, and also remember to follow our Instagram so that you can get to know all the latest updates. And feel free to screenshot this and also scan the QR code to follow our GDG on campus University Malaya Instagram page, as well as KitaHack. And I think I'll stay here for about 5 seconds for all of you to screenshot if necessary. All right, cool. I think I assume all of you have screenshot, but if you haven't, then feel free to just contact me in WhatsApp or maybe in Instagram, and then I'll send you the links. So last but not least, once again, thank you for everyone for joining, and thank you so much, Mr. Nando, for attending this workshop and giving so many insights and knowledge to all of us.
Sure.
And I strongly believe that every one of us learns so much from you. And once again, thank you so much, and take care, everyone. And looking forward to meet all of you again.
Thank you. See you, guys.
See you. Bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.